Love, the final promise. The story they told you would complete you, redeem you, save you. From childhood, you were trained to believe in it, not as a reality, but as a solution. That somewhere out there was a person who would finally make you whole. That the pain would stop once you were loved. That life's confusion would dissolve in someone else's arms. But Nietzsche would laugh, not because love is meaningless, but because the way you are taught to love is slavery. It's dependence. It's worship disguised as romance. Modern love is not union, it's escape. It's the ultimate distraction from the terrifying work of becoming yourself. So you hand over your loneliness, your fear, your identity, and in return, you receive permission to collapse into someone else. You call it safety. You call it destiny. But it's just surrender. Nietzsche knew. Anything that pulls you away from your solitude, your suffering, your becoming, is not salvation. It's a trap. And the more you idolize love, the more you flee from yourself. This isn't about hating love. It's about seeing it clearly, exposing how it's been weaponized, romanticized, sold because what you call love may be the very thing keeping you from your awakening. Love became a religion, not one of temples or altars, but of fantasies, of projections, of whispered promises that someone somewhere would finally fix you, make you feel seen, whole, eternal. But this religion demands faith without reason, surrender without examination. You are not taught to understand love. You are taught to need it, chase it, collapse into it. Nietzsche saw this need as weakness. Not because love is weak, but because the modern pursuit of love is often a mask for spiritual laziness. A refusal to grow alone. A refusal to suffer meaningfully. So what do we do instead? We seek anesthesia, not union. We beg to be saved, not challenged. And when someone finally gives us attention, we confuse it with value. But attention is not love. Obsession is not union. And dependency is not devotion. You were taught to believe love is the goal, the finish line of your growth. But what if it's a detour? What if the fairy tale is the cage? Because true growth, Nietzsche knew, happens in solitude, in fire, in war with the self, not in the comfort of being adored, but in the terror of being alone and remaining whole. Romanticism has killed more souls than war. It told you that your greatest achievement is to be chosen, to be desired, to be wrapped in someone else's certainty. But what if that certainty is delusion? Most people do not love. They possess, they escape, they project. They use another person as a screen for everything they can't confront in themselves. And we call that love. But real love, if it exists, cannot begin until the fantasy dies, until the need dies, until the illusion that someone else can. Complete you is burned to ash. Nietzsche would say, stop asking love to rescue you. It's not love's job. Your pain is not a puzzle for someone else to solve. Your emptiness is not a project for a partner to fix. The moment you expect salvation from love, you corrupt it. You turn it from fire to narcotic, from truth to comfort, from intimacy to performance. That's not love. That's theater. And most relationships are nothing but mutually agreed upon roles, played out in fear of being alone. There's a sickness we call romance, dependency wrapped in the language of love. You say you can't live without them. You say you're lost without them. You say they're your everything. But Nietzsche would ask, what were you before them? And what are you now? Modern love is full of submission. Not conscious surrender, but the slow erosion of self. You begin to shrink to fit their needs, to soften your voice, to dissolve your boundaries. And you call it compromise. But it's not. It's vanishing. Real love cannot require you to disappear. Most people only feel safe when they are no longer seen as a threat, not to their partner, but to their own potential. They give up power for affection, Fire for comfort. This is not love. It is self-abandonment with perfume. You weren't meant to be half of anything. And until you can stand complete, alone, unbroken, undistracted, every relationship you enter will be another attempt to disappear more beautifully. What does love cost you? In many cases, everything. Not the things you should lose, your pride, your isolation, your fear, but the things you must keep. Your voice, your purpose, your clarity, your war. But we are taught that true love means sacrifice. That to love is to give, and to give is to empty. But Nietzsche didn't want empty men. He wanted creators, beasts, sculptors of their own soul. And love, the way you were taught it, is the great dilution of self. You start to dress for them, think for them, move for them. Their opinions shape your truth. Their moods shape your identity. Their approval becomes your mirror. You vanish slowly, and yet you think you found yourself. But no love that demands the death of your will is sacred. It's just beautifully packaged slavery. You complete me. The most toxic phrase ever spoken in the name of love. It sounds poetic, soulful, but underneath, it is a dangerous lie that you are incomplete, that you are a fraction, a broken shard, a wandering soul in need of a better half. But Nietzsche would roar against that idea. You are not a half. You are not missing. You are not waiting to be assembled. You are a furnace, a storm, a becoming. To believe that love completes you is to declare yourself incomplete by nature. And once you believe that, you become addicted to attachment, addicted to validation, addicted to the feeling of being filled, even temporarily. But no one can complete what they didn't create. Completion is an inner act. And love, if it comes, must be the overflow of wholeness, not a patch for a broken foundation. You didn't fall in love with them. You fell in love with the idea of them. Their image, their voice, the way they smiled when you needed hope, the way they mirrored what you were too afraid to admit you wanted. You projected everything onto them and called it intimacy. Nietzsche warned us about this. When we idealize, we no longer see the person. We see a symbol, a fiction, a savior. And the moment they crack, the illusion shatters. Then comes blame, resentment, confusion, not because they failed you, but because you demanded a god where there was only a human. This is not love. It's idolatry. And the more you worship, the more you blind yourself. True connection begins when the illusion dies, when you no longer need them to be perfect or to save you. But to get there, you must first kill the version of love that lives in your fantasies. You don't need more love. You need more solitude. More silence, more stillness, more brutal honesty with yourself. Nietzsche saw solitude not as loneliness, but as strength. Because when you are truly alone, undistracted, unvalidated, unchosen, you meet your real self. And often, you don't like what you find. So you run to love. You chase someone else's arms because you're afraid of the abyss inside you. But that abyss is the path, the mirror, the forge. Only in solitude do you see your lies, your wounds, your patterns. And until you face those, every love you enter will be an escape. The world sells love as healing. But Nietzsche knew solitude is the wound that heals the soul. So if you're hurting, sit alone and don't move until the fire inside you stops begging for someone else to hold it. You say you want love, but what you really want is to be chosen. To be selected out of the crowd, to be told you matter, that you're special, that you are enough. Finally. But Nietzsche would call that vanity, not love. The craving to be chosen is not about connection. It's about ego, insecurity, the need for external proof that you are valuable, that you exist. But once you give someone the power to choose you, you also give them the power to unchoose you. And suddenly, your worth lives in someone else's hands. This isn't love. It's submission. Real strength is to choose yourself, without applause, to know your value in silence, to walk alone and remain whole. Because love built on insecurity becomes control, negotiation, performance. And when you live to be chosen, you die by rejection. Love has become theater. You say the right words. You play the role. You become the version of yourself that fits the script. And the script says, be soft, be safe, be pleasing. But Nietzsche never wanted you to be pleasing. He wanted you to be true. And the truth is, most people are faking love, performing connection, hiding rage, hiding fear, hiding their hunger to dominate or dissolve. But love isn't a costume. It's raw, violent, demanding. And it begins where the masks come off. But that's terrifying, because most people have forgotten who they are without the mask. They've become the role. So they keep performing. And when the performance slips, the relationship collapses. This is not tragedy. It is revelation. The mask was never sustainable. Only the self is. When you loved, you gave up something. Not by accident, but by design. That you gave your time, your focus, your power, and slowly your standards, your voice, your fire. You became a version of yourself optimized for approval. And Nietzsche would ask, why? What part of you believed you had to shrink to be loved? What wound taught you that power repels affection? These questions matter because they reveal the moment you chose comfort over clarity. Real love does not require your muting, but modern love rewards the quiet ones, the agreeable, the harmless. If you are powerful, you are a threat. If you are wild, you are unstable. If you are honest, you are too much. But Nietzsche knew, the ones who disturb are often the ones who awaken. So take your power back, not with rage, but with remembering. You were not born to be adored. You were born to become. The soulmate idea is beautiful and toxic. It tells you there's one person out there destined to complete you, to understand you without words, to carry your wounds and never drop them. But Nietzsche would see this as cowardice wrapped in poetry. Why? Because the soulmate myth makes you wait. It makes you passive, romantic, obsessive. You sit still, hoping the universe delivers your completion. But no one is coming. And the longer you wait to be rescued, the deeper you sink into yourself. Not to grow, but to escape. There is no soulmate. There is only self-mastery, and the kind of presence that attracts a partner, not needs one. When you stop searching for the one, you become someone worth finding. When love ends, what's left? Most people collapse. They spiral. They question their worth, their past, their future, because they made love into an identity, not an experience. Nietzsche said, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." But love for many does kill something, their self-respect, their direction. Their will because they tied their becoming to someone else's presence. But real strength is revealed when love ends. Can you still walk, still create, still breathe the fire of your purpose? Or do you wait to be filled again? What remains is the truth. And if all that remains is ashes, then love didn't grow you. It consumed you. Let that burn and build again from what's real, not from what once felt good. So what is love if not escape? What is love if not self-abandonment? Nietzsche would say, love is the highest form of will to power when it affirms life, not denies it. When two strong, whole beings collide, not to fill each other, but to expand each other. No chains, no contracts. No need. Just two flames, burning brighter because they are near, but never fused. This love doesn't control. It reveals. It demands solitude before intimacy, strength before softness, and fire before fusion. This love is rare, because most people never become strong enough to offer it. They want to possess, not empower. But you are no longer blind. You see now, love was never the goal. Becoming was. And if love enters that path, let it walk beside you, but never ahead of you. Never instead of you.